heal. And I want you to be aware that there's really two schools of thought right now that are happening in healthcare, just in case you haven't noticed this. The first thing that's happening is there's this brand new way of thinking called regenerative medicine. And it's that the body can heal itself with light, with sound, with frequency, with peptides, right? With doing the right things. That's regenerative medicine. And then there's that kind of old school of thought, which is the old big juggernaut, allopathic, medical model, which is a pill for every ill, surgeries, and things like that. And I'm not saying those things are not necessary in crisis. They absolutely are, and they save lives every single day. But I think we'd all have to agree at this point that big business model of pills for ills is not a long-term health solution. Can we all agree on that today? In fact, most people that I'm talking to here today, you probably got on this because you've had maybe gut problems for a while, okay? Maybe it's not been a week or a month. Maybe it's been 10 years of irritable bowel, or 10 years of colitis, or 10 years of constipation, or 10 years of something gut related, right? Stomach aches, indigestion, you name it, right? The bottom line is I think the reason I've gotten so great at seeking is that I never give up. I don't think, okay, well, that's just going to be the way it is. I'm like, there has to be a solution. I'm a solution seeker. The Lord has given me that gift to just continually research, dig deep, ask questions, because I believe that the solutions are there when we start seeking. And so a little bit about our journey. You guys know my mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's about 8 years ago. So we had tried everything from detoxification. And honestly, this presentation today could be 10 hours long, and I could just talk about nutrition, supplements, all facets of it. But I'm going to really try to keep it contained today to gut health, because if you are not healthy in your gut, how many of you know, like Hippocrates, the founder of modern medicine, said that literally every disease begins in the gut? How many of you believe that? Okay, that is very important for you to understand that. Okay, so, and I'm not saying that other organ systems don't come into play, but a lot of problems can be solved when we get our gut in check. How many of you realize that a lot of problems can be solved? An example I can give you is my mom was constipated for 30 years, chronic constipation for 30 years before being diagnosed with Parkinson's. And now there's correlation. In fact, I think I sent it to myself here. Let me just pull this up real quick. I sent a couple things to myself on Messenger so that I could review and just share with you these things that I want you to know, because I think this is powerful, powerful information. So let me come up here real quick. First of all, I'm gonna share something with you that y'all know, but I just sometimes I think it's good to hear it again and again and again, right? So the gut-brain connection. Let me open up my screen here. Screen share. And I apologize if you feel like I'm bebopping around. I've just got so much to say in a limited time to say it. Scott actually did do some PowerPoint slides for me, so I will try to stay on the rails. But it's interesting when you type in gut-brain connection, when I go to PubMed, have you guys ever heard of PubMed.gov? It's the largest online resource library where doctors actually utilize that. So hopefully you can see that on the screen right here. And when I go here to PubMed and I type in gut-brain connection, there's 26,798 studies. So pack a lunch. You can research as little or as long as you want on this one, right? So the bottom line is the gut is affecting our brain, which is why the world has gotten completely crazy. I mean, look around. Mental illness is at an all-time high, depression, anxiety, ADHD, ADD, schizophrenia. I mean, I've never seen so many incidences of mental illness in my life, but it's because our guts are wrecked. It's simply the way they've treated the environment. The soil is sprayed with glyphosate. The air is being sprayed with, we don't even know what, right? We think it's aluminum. But they're coming in at us from all directions. And our gut simply was not designed by God to take on all these chemicals. Think about this for a second. We're not designed to take on chemicals. There's 1,000 chemicals that are completely 100% legal in your children's cereal that are banned over in Europe. When we go to Europe, we get healthier as a family. Everybody comes back feeling great, looking great, no more health problems. Literally, our guts don't hurt and we eat pizza 5 times a day. Everybody comes back healthier. True story, because they don't even allow these chemicals in other countries like they do in the United States. So the first thing I want you to know is that the overseers, the authorities of your health that we thought were the authorities, the 3-letter organizations, are not out to serve us. Okay, I want you guys to first understand that. They're not out for your best interest. they're out for the bottom dollar. Okay. And I'm not going to make this a negative thing because I am a solution-minded person, but I want you to be aware if you're still relying on, a pharmaceutical or the next drug ad or your doctor maybe to tell you what to do to heal. Doctors are not trained to teach people how to heal. I want you guys to know that. They're not trained in root cause, most doctors. Now, if you go to a good one that's integrative, they'll know because they've researched above and beyond just their medical diploma, right? So my bottom line is our gut and our brain are directly connected. Can we all agree on that? It's kind of a big deal, right? And so when I go up there, it's crazy when you go, just typing in gut brain connection, right? You can click on any of these. Look at this, gut, liver, brain axis and diseases. So there's something called the gut brain axis, where literally what is happening in our gut is our second brain. Have you ever heard that? Say that out loud. My gut is my second brain. So if your gut is not doing well, how do you think your brain is doing? There's literally an axis that connects the gut to the brain. Okay, so just so you know that. Well, what's happening in people's lives is many times they have something called leaky gut. How many of you have heard of leaky gut? Okay, think about your gut lining. Our gut lining, oh man, gut lining is just so, it's very thin actually. And so what happens is it becomes damaged by these chemicals that I'm talking about. It becomes damaged by chronic use of antibiotics. It becomes compromised by vaccines, any kind of chemical that we put in the body that the body is not aware of. It's going to compromise the gut lining. And eventually what happens is we literally have holes in your gut, okay? And they call it leaky gut. So every time you eat something, it doesn't stay in your gut where it belongs, right? It doesn't go through that digestive process, which is from your mouth to your anus. It doesn't stay in there. What happens as soon as you eat it and you've got leaky gut, all of that stuff, that food, those chemicals, those supplements, they're floating throughout the entire system. And actually people become chronic inflammation, which is why autoimmune diseases are so prevalent. You guys, 20 years ago, you heard of once in a while a person would have MS. Once in a while a person would have lupus. I think about my career 25 years ago when I looked at how many clients I had that had autoimmune diseases. I had one client, and I remember her name. Her name was Sue. Okay. And she was the only client I had with an autoimmune disease. Now, most people that I talk to are dealing with some type of autoimmune disease. And the reason that happens is because of that leaky gut. Imagine your gut lining but like this, and it's got holes poked in it. So when you consume something, all of that stuff, it becomes systemic and it floats through all these areas of the body where it does not belong. And the body's saying, mayday, mayday, we've got beef, floating through this. We've got a carcinogen, red 40 floating over here. Like it's literally your body's on high alert because it's literally everything is leaking out of the gut. It's called leaky gut. Okay. Are you all aware of leaky gut now? I'm kind of summarizing it. I'm not being super over analytical or scientific today. I just want to be kind of just spoken in concrete, easy language for you guys to understand. Okay. So you understand, we're not going to go through any of these 7,000 studies right now, but you're welcome to start researching that at pubmed.gov. The next thing I want to show you that's really, really important is that, literally when you think about this, let me click on this one right here. Let me screen share with you guys again. So this is really interesting. Remember can you guys see that? Does it say the gut microbiome unleashing the doctor within, or does it not say that? Nod your head. I'm looking at Lisa. Okay, Lisa, good. The gut microbiome unleashing the doctor within. So do you remember how Hippocrates, the founder of modern medicine, said that every disease begins in the gut? Okay, he literally said that 2,000 years ago. So look at this. Let's read this, what they discovered. Hello, and this is pretty recent. This is February 1st, 2019, this was done. Okay, if you just came on, if you guys could mute yourself, that'd be really great. If you just joined us, hit mute on your keypad so we don't have to hear the dog barking. All right, Hippocrates said, there it is, everyone has a doctor in him or her. We just have to help it in its work. The natural healing force within each of us is the greatest force in getting well. Our food should be our medicine. Our medicine should be our food, okay? So this is like literally 2,000 years ago, before Rockefeller came in and bought up the drug industry because he was, petroleum rich, because most drugs are petroleum based, which means they're part oil, okay? So we're not even going to get into that part of the broken medical system or the pharmaceutical industry. But 2,000 years ago, this guy was saying this. He says, as we continue to embark on the transformation of healthcare, there it is, guys, regenerative medicine or allopathic care, you're literally choosing a side now. You're literally picking which one you're going to be part of. Okay. Some people say, I just want to stick to what my doctor says. I don't want to wear a patch. I don't want to do anything that's really going to help me. I just have to consult with my doctor. Well, you can consult with your doctor, but your doctor may or may not know anything about nutrition. Your doctor may or may not know anything about phototherapy or light therapy patches. Your doctor may or may not know anything about peptides. Okay, so I just want you to be well aware of that. So it says, it will be increasingly important to educate and empower our patients about their body's amazing ability to heal itself. This is a study at PubMed. Look who did this study here. The American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine. So this is a big journal that did this. We're going to empower our patients about their body's amazing ability to heal itself. Well, this is not always an easy task. Not everybody wants to do this, right, guys? New research continues to provide us as lifestyle medicine practitioners with new ways to deliver our message. Perhaps no research is quite as exciting for lifestyle medicine as that of the human gut microbiome and its incredible and undeniable impact on human health. Your gut affects nearly everything in your body, okay? Not surprisingly, it was Hippocrates who was coined the phrase, all diseases begin in the gut. Well, 2,000 years of time and research has demonstrated that not all diseases originate in the gut. An increasing number of conditions are linked to that complex ecosystem of microbes that reside in the gut. The most promising part, we have the unique ability to manipulate that ecosystem and health outcomes through practical methods, many of which just happen to be the pillars of lifestyle medicine. Lifestyle medicine is sunlight, proper nutrition, proper hydration, electrolytes, light therapy, right? Stress relief, getting in sync with the sun, proper circadian rhythms, going to bed when the sun goes down, getting up when the sun comes up, right? These are all called lifestyle medicine. Okay. And in some countries of the world already, they're already prescribing this. So are you guys convinced about the gut? Now I'm going to take this right back to my family's health, and I'm going to get very, very raw with you guys. I'm going to show you some things that I've never shown before, ever. But I just think it's super important that you all know. So I told you that my mom was like chronically constipated for like 30 years before she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Imagine that, 30 years of chronic constipation, right? You'd think at some point her primary care physician would say, God, we got to get a handle on your constipation pearl. Okay. But no one ever said that to her. It was, take Miralax, they said. They were never going to get to the root cause of it. Right. And then one day my mom wakes up with a hand tremor. That's how that happened, guys. And so and now we've been on this journey to find solutions and help. Well, 2 years ago, about 3 years ago, actually, we had another health crisis going on in our home. We have 3 boys. They're 24, 17, and 16. And I've kind of prided myself and been super proud of the fact that we've just really taken excellent care of ourselves. We've been abundantly healthy, right? We've been very healthy. I've been very health conscious. 23 years ago, I went back to school for my doctorate in holistic nutrition. Okay, so I went back to school to become a doctor in holistic nutrition. I never finished that degree, but I certainly learned enough to make me dangerous to the medical establishment, because I learned that most diseases were being created by the large bodies of health, okay, like the FDA, NIH, we could just go into CDC. We could go over those 3-letter organizations all day long, but you get the point. I read a book called The Politics of Cancer by Dr. Samuel Epstein, okay, and it was a book about this thick. I think it was 1,000 pages. For one of my classes. It completely transformed my life. I stopped dyeing my hair with normal hair dye. I stopped cleaning my house with normal cleaning products. I mean, if you want to say radical, I got radical. We stopped drinking milk. We stopped eating wheat. I mean, we just got crazy. Imagine this. I ripped out all the carpet in my house because one of my my oldest son, when he was little, was dealing with allergy related issues. We thought it was probably, the carpet. We got rid of all that. He was still coughing and puking. We eliminated dairy, and within 24 hours, he stopped coughing and puking, and then ended up becoming a national champ in track. They told me when he was 2 that he had, asthma, and they wanted him on. I actually was an uneducated mother. I was an uneducated mother, and I put him on. They had him on like an allergy medication. Well, after he was on that medication for 1 year, I came back in and they said, oh, by the way, it was called Zyrtec. Zyrtec stunts growth. They told me. So now Bo, to this day, you guys know my son Bo. he blames me that he's the short one in the family. I'm just going to tell you the truth because I had him on Zyrtec, but I didn't know for 1 full year that it was stunting his growth. And the moment the nurse told me that, oh, by the way, a new study came out, we found out Zyrtec stunts growth. I'm like, discontinue, right? And that's when I got really aggressive with lifestyle solutions. Like, what's causing my kid to cough? We can't just keep giving him the Zyrtec. It's stunting his growth now. He's 2, right? And that's when we got radical and we went eliminated all red 40, blue 1, yellow 5. I didn't have a fruit snack in my house. I mean, I literally, if it said a red dye or a blue dye, I was throwing it straight in file 13. If it said anything with grains, if they were not fermented, I was throwing it in file 13. File 13 is the garbage. I was literally just like, my whole house was full of garbage. I realized in that instant. So I had to make some lifestyle choices, and we were poor. We didn't have much money then. So it's not like I was like, oh, I've got this like, bankroll where I can just make all these lifestyle changes. Like, it was tight, but we decided that our family was worth it. So I was willing to sacrifice in other areas. Plus I wasn't going to be dyeing my hair anymore professionally after reading the book. So look at how much money we're saving there. Anyway, the bottom line is it changed my life. Fast forward 3 years ago, our boys, actually was maybe 3.5. Our boys are very, very, very good athletes. You know them. They're Bo, True, and Rocco. And I've always been on the healing journey. You get this, that I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with health. Okay. If you're in a trench, you'd want to call me because I'd be like, I think we can figure this out. Okay. Bottom line is, been an advocate for my mom, been an advocate for my dad, been an advocate for aging people in general, been an advocate for a lot of stuff. And I could tell you story after story about that, but stay focused, Renita. Gut health. 3.5 years ago, our Rocco was running in cross country and he just started getting super white faced, like white. And like, if from here down, he'd be tan. This would be tan and this would be white. And then I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is crazy. And he was running and he was such a good athlete. Like, he was out doing cross country. Kid was running 60 miles a week, right? Winning every race, coming in 800 meters ahead of the second place kid, right? Like, he was just a super stellar athlete, super skinny. We fed him all the time, good balanced nutrition, couldn't pack on a pound. The kid was like losing weight, I'm like, what's going on? So I take him to this doctor and she's like, oh, he's got parasites. And I was like, holy cow, like, how do you get parasites? And she's like, Renita, everybody's got parasites. I was like, what? And so we went on this journey literally of about 2 years where we were parasite detoxing. She goes, if he's got them, the whole family's got them. Do you guys have a dog? Were you sleeping with the dog? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you all got them. She goes, do you travel internationally at all? Yeah. Do you ever buy organic produce? It's all I buy. Did you ever eat an unwashed apple? Yeah. Parasites. So she literally went on this journey telling me, like, literally my healthy, holistic lifestyle had given us all parasites, right? But in Rock's case, it was really overtaking him. So we went down the whole journey. To summarize it, it was like hell for 2 years. Let me just say it plain. About 1.5 years, pure hell. Like, every time I would give him a parasite detox, he'd be on the ground. He couldn't see. It was affecting his vision. I mean, it was just crazy. Like, it was intense. Like, I mean, and here's me, like an investigative journalist, like, and I cannot figure out. We took him to these doctors in Minnesota. They told me that his mitochondria was only functioning at 10%. What? Like, mitochondria is like the powerhouse of the cell. The kid, his resting heart rate at night, we'd go to bed and I would take Rocco's resting heart rate. These guys are all athletes, by the way. When you're an athlete, your heart rate goes down. Like, you got like a 50 resting heart rate. He'd be laying in bed at night and his heart rate would be 120. And I mean, that makes me want to cry thinking about it, actually, but I'm going to keep myself pulled in pretty tight. Anyway, he was just not well. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, couldn't figure it out. Every time I gave him these parasite detoxes, he was getting sicker than a dog. Finally took him to this practitioner in Minneapolis. She's like, stop the train. Your kid cannot have one more of these supplements. His body cannot handle them. In fact, we're going to start with a half a capsule of something and you're going to put it in his bath water. Like, that's all he can have. He cannot be ingesting anything. Okay. He couldn't take any glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant. When he would take glutathione supplements, his shins would turn bright blue, like his lower legs would turn into a smurf. And I would be like, oh my gosh, like, but glutathione is the master antioxidant to clean the body, right? So everywhere I was going, everybody was like, oh, he needs glutathione. But we had $1,000 worth of glutathione sitting in the fridge. And every time I gave it to Rock, he's like, Mom, quit giving me that. My shins are going to blow out. Like it literally would make his shins like they're going to explode. It was called the cell danger response. I had genetic testing done with our family. I'm not kidding. Scott said, did we really spend up to $100,000? I said, well, maybe not 100,000, but the genetic testing, all the people that I hired across the country to read it, all the supplements necessary for 2 straight years, well, maybe close to 100,000, right? And still to no avail. Rocco was no better. It was crazy. Okay, so we're on this journey and I'm like, what am I missing? Get this, in comes the patch, okay? And I'm not here to sell you the patch, okay? If you're on the patch, you're smart. If you're not on the patch, you ought to be on the patch, okay? But Rocco started on the patch on X39 only. I didn't know about any of the other patches. And this is not the primary reason I'm here. The primary reason I'm here today is this right here, this peptide to heal your gut. But I have to tell you this, if not, you don't understand how the journey's been and how I know it's going to help you. So Rocco basically, mitochondria were still the biggest need. They were barely functioning, couldn't put a pound on this kid. He couldn't get over 75 pounds. I mean, it was just nuts. His face was completely stark white. I actually have some pictures to share with you so you guys can see what we were kind of going through. So you just know. And I don't, he's like, Mom, do we have to share them? And I said, you know what? I think it could bless somebody else. We're not going to share a bunch of them, but I'm just going to share you guys a couple pictures of kind of the journey that we were on with this situation here. Okay, so you guys ready? Here's the pictures. So when Rocco was little, completely tanned, healthy, robust. My last 2 boys have not been vaccinated once. Rocco has never been on a single antibiotic. Not one, not a single one. Okay. Bo, we quit vaccinating when he was 2.5. We figured it out. He's 24 now. Okay. So these were just like normal little healthy boys. Aren't they cute, by the way? Rocco kind of looked like the Gerber baby, we always said, because he had that little round face. Rocco was a vibrantly healthy. True, Bo, they're all vibrantly healthy. And then all of a sudden, whoops, where did it go? And then all of a sudden we started seeing this. You guys see that? Can you see it in the picture? Can you see it? Not if you can see it. Do you see how it's just like from the neck down, the kid was tan, and then from the neck up, he was white. Do you see that? Well, your face,
and his eyes.
Oh my gosh. And this is like a good picture. If I showed you a bad one, you just would be like, it was unbelievable. Okay. It would make every mom on here cry because you'd be like, what is going on with this kid? Right. And so just super skinny, couldn't get him to gain any weight. Put the X39 patch on him. Wore it every day. Didn't know anything like I know now. 2 years and 3 months later, we go back to the practitioner in Minnesota. And the practitioner in Minnesota says to me, what did you do with Rocco? She goes, his mitochondria, which is always tested as greatest need. It's a 0 to 1,000 scale. Rocco's mitochondria always came at a 980. It was like it needed the most help of anything in his body. Mitochondria always came up at 980, okay? Which is really high. You want these numbers under 600. And his was 980. That means his mitochondria were not functioning well. You guys get that? Patch and patch and patch and patch. And 30 days on, she calls me and she's like, we're at this appointment. She's like, right, Rocco's mitochondria need is at 550. She goes, oh my gosh, how did you get that to drop from 980 to 550? Did you give him something different? Like we've been on the same supplements for 3 months and that's not happened. Like, because we change the supplements about every 3 months. And I said, no, I said, you know what? The only thing different we've been doing is I've been putting this X39 patch on him. She said, what is it? I said, it's a phototherapy patch. She goes, oh my gosh, in 25 years of being a health practitioner doing this, I've never seen a mitochondrial need change that drastically. She said, literally, he's got no more mitochondrial need. His mitochondria are functioning perfect. I said, you got to be kidding me. So we hung up, and that same practitioner calls me about 3 hours later. She goes, Renita, is your friend Julie from Bismarck? Because she was a patient, because this gal was in Minneapolis. She goes, is your friend Julie from Bismarck on the patches as well? And I said, she is. She goes, I just saw her and her mitochondrial need fell off the radar just like Rocco's did. It was like in the 800s and it fell down to below 500. And she said she's been wearing the patch, and I wondered if it was the same patch Rocco's been wearing. She goes, in all my years of doing this, I've never seen something change like that. So the first thing I want to tell you that will change everything is the X39 patch. It'll change everything. Okay. So now that practitioner has every person got on the X39 patch. But let me continue the journey because we weren't done yet. Okay. So as we go through here, you can still see those pictures of Rock. You can still see, this is when we went to Sardinia, Italy last year. Can you guys see how thin he is? And all my boys are pretty thin, right? But Rocco just had a heck of a time gaining weight. You could just see this, like this still was very white. Can you guys notice that or not? Anybody? Yep. You with me? Okay. Next thing that happened. Okay, there we are again. Next thing, oopsie, where's my picture? And you can still see him. He's kind of gaining a little bit of weight, still pretty white-faced when you'd see him. Just always working at it, never 100%. It becomes like his face would come and go then. Sometimes it would be nice and flush colored, not normal, like a normal one, and then it would go away. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so this is more recent. So this is when we just went on the trip to the Greek cruise. You guys remember Greece? Okay, the Greece cruise that our family just went on, like literally what, a month and a half ago. And so you can see Rocco is coming out of it. Like you can see his skin is looking better. He's gaining weight, like it's happening. And it's not just puberty. Some people say, well, he went through puberty. Oh yeah, that's true too. But what we were dealing with, trust me, was not just a puberty issue. It was something way different, okay? Let me keep showing you this. Oopsie, it keeps popping off. I apologize. We're almost done with these pictures, okay? So about when we got back from Greece, about 2 weeks after we got back, so we've been at this maybe for a month now, I started giving, I was researching this peptide. I was researching this peptide over and over and over and over. And when I researched this peptide, I found out it was one of the most important peptides to heal the gut and the gut-brain connection. And I was doing the research, and actually there was some science on Parkinson's. So I thought, oh, this would be great for my mom, okay? And as I got researching it, I'm like, you know, it really will heal any inflammation that's been there a long time. So I was like, okay, this is really important. So we got ourselves, my whole family, and my mom on this peptide, okay? And peptides are kind of controversial in medicine right now, okay? Do you guys know this? Do you know why? Because peptides are like chains of amino acids, and the medical community has a hard time patenting them. So what they're doing is they're putting a lot of peptides on something called the FDA watch list. So they're saying, oh, we're going to keep an eye on that. In the meantime, they're over there in their little chemistry labs trying to take that peptide and add 1 or 2 ingredients to make it a drug so they can come back and sell it through the medical industry. Are you guys with me on that? Do you understand what they're trying to do? So when they say peptides are controversial, it's not that they're so controversial. It's that peptides are doing a lot of things, just like the GHK-Cu peptide that helped Rocco in his mitochondrial, that helped mom get her weight back, that helped my mom get her teeth back. The X39 patch that's activated by the X39 and the GHK copper peptide. But we added one other peptide, and I'm going to show it to you in a second here. And then this is after we started the peptide. We've all been on it now, I would say, for a solid 3 weeks. Okay. So here's Rocco like yesterday. And granted, he's at the gym. This ain't without work. The kid is just like, I mean, he went from being stalled at 75 pounds for a year and a half. And now Rocco is like literally in the last month. I mean, this kid, I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay. So I wanted to show those pictures so that you know where we're going with this thing. Are you guys, is everybody still with me here? Okay. Now I'm going to break it into my little PowerPoint that Scott made for me. Thank you, Scott, for making the PowerPoint to help keep me on the rails because the Lord knows I need it. Okay. So here we go. You guys ready for this? So I'm not here to sell you patches and sell you products. I'm here to educate you and empower you to step into regenerative medicine so that your body can heal itself. Okay. I'm going to give you some tools on the journey, and it's up to you to implement them. Again, I'm not telling you, I'm not your doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm telling you what happened to me and my family. Oh, I didn't finish this one. My mom lived with us for 1 year. She now lives independently over at this place called Touchmark, which is pretty much like the Carnival Cruise Line for old people. Anyway, mom lived with us for 1 year. She was so damn constipated I mean, my full-time job was getting my mom to poop. I am not kidding you. Like, I mean, we were patching her, we were giving her magnesium. I mean, you name it, we were doing, she was doing enemas. Like, we were doing everything. Sometimes my mother would poop once every 8 days. Okay. Have you guys ever heard me saying, if you're not pooping, every 12 hours, the poop needs to be eliminated appropriately. If not, it's going back on that gut brain axis and it goes up to here. And when you're that constipated, how do you think your brain is? Constipated. Let's just call it that. Now they're showing studies of every kind of neurological condition linked to what? Linked to constipation or diarrhea, because diarrhea is like constipation, because constipation, none of the nutrients are being assimilated correctly. And with diarrhea, none of the nutrients are being assimilated correctly. Get it, guys? So constipation and diarrhea are like the same dang thing. Anyway, so my mom would go 8 days. So we got my mom on this same little thing here. And guess what started happening to my mom? Every morning she'd wake up pooping. She said to me on the third day, what on earth did you give me? Because I'm pooping every day. What did you give me? So she's over at a touch mark. And I'm like, are you making it to the toilet in time? Like the woman who went from 8 days of not pooping is now pooping daily and pooping regularly. And she's like, what on earth did you give me? That's different, Renita. She's like, this is crazy. Like, I've never pooped like this in my life. Like, and so now I'm like, okay, so this is not just a Renita Scott bowl. You know, we're all taking this peptide. We're all wearing the patches. Mom's wearing the patches. Now we start giving her the peptide and mom's pooping. And I'm like, holy crap, what is going on here? What just happened? Okay. All right. I want to tell you that about my mom because it's affecting her brain. And you've also heard me say this. You've heard me say this a million times. When you're dreaming, you're cleaning. What that means is when you are dreaming at night when you're sleeping, your brain is cleaning itself. It's called the glymphatic system. We've all heard of the lymphatic system, like our lymph nodes, right? But there's something called the glymphatic system, which happens at night when we're sleeping. It actually happens when we get into the REM stages of sleep and we dream. Dreaming is actually cleaning your brain. Say this out loud. Dreaming, yeah, I know. Don't even get me started, Lynn. Dreaming is cleaning your brain. Do you know that my mother, and this is crazy because when she lived at my house, we started patching her not only with X39 and carnosine, and what we added in was Alavita at night and Silent Night. I put a patch right here of Silent Night because it increases melatonin, and Alavita on her right ankle or bottom of her right heel. And mom would wake up telling me dreams about her sister. Now, this was a woman who had not dreamt. Like literally, let me just say it plainly. We took her to the doctor for a sleep study. She spent overnight in the hospital. The results came back that my mother did not have 1 minute of REM sleep. Not a minute. The doctor said to me, the neurologist said to me, I've never seen a person that hasn't had 1 minute of REM sleep. Usually they have limited window of REM sleep. Your mother had none. I'm like, how is her brain cleaning itself? It's not. You guys get what I'm saying here? Dreaming is cleaning. So Rocco comes up about 3 days ago, which is why I decided to do this thing that we're doing today. And Rocco said to me, Mom, do you know the dreams I'm having? He said, I cannot. He said, Mom, do you know that I didn't dream for 2 years? He said, it had to be at least 2 years where I never had a dream. Never. He said, and if I did, I didn't remember it, but I never had it. He said, do you know that every single night I'm dreaming? He said, in fact, when I wake up at 7 a.m. and then realize it's 7 and I want to sleep a little bit longer and go back to sleep, I even dream in that little window. He said, I am dreaming all the time. And if I brought Rocco into the office right now, his skin color on his face looks like my skin color. Looks like my skin color, which is tan. Rocco has a tendency to be very tan like me, but that's why it was so weird. So let me just tell you in a nutshell, summarize it up, and then I'll go through the flip chart very quickly what I think happened. I believe, like Rocco, like my mom, like so many of you, like maybe me, we have something called leaky gut. And leaky gut comes from, do any of you drink Splenda or sucralose or energy drinks or, fat-free things that have sucralose or Splenda? It's tearing holes in our gut lining, okay? Have you been on an antibiotic? Have you taken in any type of chemical at all? Do any of you have chronic stress? All of that stuff is making those little tiny, imagine pinholes in your stomach lining, and that leaky gut is coming. So I have a theory The reason Rocco was getting so sick when we were giving him parasite detox, like black walnut hull, and I could go on and on, but I could talk parasite detoxes for 2.5 years, but just start eating pumpkin seeds. That'd be a good start during a full moon. Anyway, the bottom line is when I was giving him that stuff, it wasn't staying in his stomach to kill the parasites. What was happening to it? It was going everywhere in his little system and making him sick to the point where he'd lay in the ground. He's like, Mom, I can't see straight. Like, I mean, it was like out of it. It was awful. And so it was literally the leaky gut was letting it all expose. So all the supplements, think about the people, if you're taking supplements, if you're taking medications on here, if you have leaky gut and your gut junctions are not like this, imagine your gut junctions having nicks and crannies down, all of that crap, all those supplements, which makes the patches, these patches that we talk about, so phenomenal, right? Because nothing is entering the body. It's just coming into light, which is why we see so much healing in so many realms. Okay, you guys understand the story? That's all done. Here's the actual presentation I put together. So I'm going to go through this quickly. And again, this will be available for you to watch. I'm not making medical claims. Talk to your doctor if you really have questions. I'm not your doctor. I'm just here to help you to get healthy. Okay, so the first thing I want to tell you is your food matters. I'm not going to tell you put on an X39 patch, take this peptide, and keep eating wheat. Especially if it's not fermented. Fermented grains are generally okay for most people, okay, because they're fermented. But most people are not eating fermented grains. They're not eating sourdough bread every time they eat, right? They're just buying loaves of bread from the grocery store and cereal from the grocery store. So your first goal from a nutritional standpoint, very simply, eliminate gluten and possibly dairy. And what I would do is, if you're saying, I can't do that, Renita, well, can you do it for 30 days? Okay, do it for 30 days. And then on day 31, eat as much gluten as you can and tell me how you feel. That's like a test that they do. It's like a nutritional test that they do with many people to find out if they're gluten intolerant. They say eliminate it for 30 days. Plus, all of you will probably drop a pant size if you do that. Just saying. Okay, eliminate gluten for 30 days. And then on the 31st day, just eat a crap ton of it and see how your stomach feels. Most people won't be able to make it to noon. And they'll say, oh my gosh, I guess maybe I should not be eating gluten, right? Dairy, that's optional. Like my son, Bo, doesn't do well on dairy. As soon as he consumes dairy, he starts coughing. Okay. Now I'm going to give you some solutions to help that on the journey. Fasting. I'm a big believer in fasting and intermittent fasting. Okay. The longest I've gone is 3 days. My husband Scott has gone 9 days, right? It's good to go 16 to 18 hours fasting if you can. Do you have to do that always? No, I believe in being cyclical with fasting. I don't think you have to fast all the time. I think it's good to give your body a break. Here's the thing, what happens when you fast. When you start going 18 hours without eating, the body is no longer using the energy to break down food. It's using the energy to repair what needs to be repaired. Okay, that's what happens when you start fasting. So I always tell people when you fast, start slow, stop eating at 7, start eating again at 7. That'd be 12 hours. Can you push it to eat at 8, eat at 9? Now you're up to 14 hours. Don't have your first meal till 10. See how you're fasting? You're kind of pushing that fasting window out. But when you fast, start slow. Probiotic, you all need, if you've been on one antibiotic, studies show it takes 700 days to replant the microbiome from one antibiotic. So if you've been on a 1 month, one antibiotic on here and you're not taking a probiotic, you should be taking a probiotic. I've got a great one I will suggest. In the meantime, eat sauerkraut, eat kimchi. Like you can eat things, eat arugula. Arugula is amazing. It helps with enzymes and the microbiome. Arugula, I have arugula. Do you know that in Europe, by the way, over in Italy, when we were in Italy, they call it rocket, R-O-C-K-E-T. So every time you order pizza in Italy, not only does it not have glyphosate in the dough, guess what they put on top of every pizza? Rocket, a handful of arugula. The Europeans do. Do you know why? That's digestive enzymes, right? So I eat arugula on a daily basis. Ask my family. I eat handfuls of arugula. Okay, that's what I take for my enzymes. But if you don't want to do that, I also have a suggestion for a supplement. And then the patches that I think are very, very important when it comes to nutrition. Let's just talk about these real quick. Is X39. You can wear that on your neck, but if you're having digestive problems, it's going to work better under your belly button. Let me just say that. David Schmidt said, sometimes we need a complete reset. You can actually put the X39 while you're sleeping at night over your belly button. Have you ever heard David Schmidt say this? This is huge. Put the X39 literally over top, right directly over top of your belly button when you go to bed at night. Okay. And if not, I like to wear it below the belly button. Another great thing is carnosine. Let's talk about carnosine. Really great for digestion, for bloating. Carnosine is going to be really great at the base of the sternum. So I've showed you guys that before, right there. Can you see that? That's where you put the carnosine patch. This is going to be amazing for digestion and bloating. Okay, so if you're a person that has that, the patches do a nice job on that. Another great area, if you have a lot of bloating, is take your hand right here. Everybody put your hand up so I know you're listening. And pinch this area between your thumb and your pointer finger. You can put an Eon patch right there. Okay, an Eon patch right there. Say Eon, Eon. And when you put that there, that's going to really help with digestion, with the bloating, and all of that. Let me think about what else I want to say about that. Okay, that's enough for right now. Energy enhancers are going to be great on either side of your belly button. So white right, tan left on either side of your belly button. Just do like one thumb or two fingers over on either side of the belly button, and that's going to really help the digestive healing as well. And then we're going to talk about the peptide supplement BPC 157 right now. You guys ready? All right, this is the food. So I want you to know, don't just take these supplements and not change your nutrition. You have to quit toxifying yourself, right? Toxifying yourself for some of you is you eat way too much bread. You got to stop it for 30 days, okay? Another thing that's really affects our gut is our stress levels. So when we noticed that white face with Rocco, he was running 60 miles a week. Listen to when it popped up, stress. He was running 60 miles a week. Okay. How many of you know that stress is affected with our gut? Has your phone ever rang at 2 o'clock in the morning? How do you instantly feel in your gut? When your phone rings at 2 a.m., do you feel, oh, like someone's calling to say hello? How do you feel in your stomach at 2 a.m.? Like what happened, right? So that is how our gut-brain connection is, you guys. Our gut is responsible and really holds that stress, right? And that's why we say, well, I just felt it in my gut. Like when something wasn't right, I just felt it in my gut. Have you guys ever said that? That's true. That's called gut instinct. We need to listen to that, right, guys? So Rocco was running 60 miles a week. He was getting completely belittled by his track team because he was beating all the seniors and they were getting knocked off, and Rocco got elevated to go to state and the seniors didn't. So they were bullying Rocco while he was running. Imagine this kid going out running 8 miles a day and the seniors are coming next to him, calling him dirty names and bullying him. And that same week, our dog Zoe died. So it was like a triple whammy for that kid, right? Zoe was his best friend. Okay. So Zoe died, bullying from the buddies, and too chronic inflammation of running, like too much. 60 miles a week is too much, right? You guys get what I'm saying? And that's when, boom, that first symptom of that white face appeared. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And we thought it was parasites this whole time. Well, after doing thousands, I'm telling you, when I say 100,000, I think I'm lowballing it. Let's say I just did $80,000 worth of supplements in a 2.5 year period. And when none of them really worked that well, the patch brought back the mitochondria. The patch changed a lot of things with my mom's health. The patch changed things with Rocco's eyes. The patch was changing things again and again. But then I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that changed now is this other peptide. Okay, so but let's talk about box breathing for stress relief. If you cannot sleep, what I suggest you do is visualize a box. Like literally in your mind, think about a square. Okay, can we all do this? Let's practice this right now. Think of a square. I do this all the time. It works like a gem. And let's say you wake up and your mind is racing. You can't get back to sleep. I want you to do 4 seconds breath on each side of the box. So we inhale. 2, 3, 4, exhale. 4. Inhale. Exhale. I don't even make it 2 boxes around when I fall back to sleep. Okay. Box breathing works. I teach it to people all the time because it's free. So easy. Movement and stretching. How many of you know movement is medicine? Movement releases motion, releases emotion. If people are stressed out, what's the best thing you can do? Go for a walk, right? Movement, stretching. Okay. Another thing that really helps with stress reduction is getting our eyes synchronized with the sun. Morning eyes on sunrise, right? Every morning getting up with the sun, and then sunset, eyes on the sunset again. Prayer, meditation we're using during that, right? All those things are going to help with stress reduction. I know a lot of really stressed out Christians taking handfuls of nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals. They should be on this. Okay. They need to get in sync with just more than only prayer. There's other options when we get into regenerative medicine. And as Christians, we should be the ones saying, I'm going to try that because it's natural. Right. So, and then the patches to use to reduce stress, X39 literally affects 700 nervous system genes. 700 nervous system genes. It's in this book right here called GHK copper peptide, okay, by Dr. Karp. He tells you that this peptide, which is activated by X39, affects 700 nervous system genes. And of course, the Eon patch is amazing at balancing that sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. All right, sleep. Reduce blue light after dark. That's hard for all of us, especially if you have a home-based online business, right? But start using some blue light blockers and try to do your meetings earlier in the day. Establish a bedtime routine. Don't go to bed one night at 10 and the next night at 2. Deep breathing visualization. Very, very important to do deep breathing visualization. I do that as I drift off to sleep. Before I do the box breathing, I visualize exactly what I want to happen. I thank God in advance for it, and then I do the box breath and I go to sleep. Okay, and then this peptide. Okay, BPC 157. All right, the patches for sleep, guys. A lot of people. I slept on X39. My mom started dreaming again with Elavita on her right heel, or right here on your ankle. Okay, it's called right underneath your right ankle. It's called home sleep in Chinese medicine. You put the Elavita patch there. Okay, my mom put a silent night right here. Some people like to put it under their right ear as well. Okay, so silent night patches. And again, we're just bringing in light. We're not having anything filtered through the stomach, the liver, the kidneys. Okay, so those are the phototherapy patches to wear with sleeping. Okay, now we're going to go to BCP 157. All right, we're not going to go into any more patches because those of you who are on here, you can talk to the person who invited you on. If you're interested in getting started with the patches, I think it'd be a great idea for you because again, the patches don't have to filter through stomach, liver, and kidneys. All right, moving on to the peptide. Oh, this is one more thing that I wanted to show you. Let me just show you this because I had a screenshot of it. I might as well. Here it is. Right here. So this is wild. Here are some ways the gut microbiome can impact health. The gut microbiome helps break down food, produces vitamins and fatty acids. So imagine, as good as we ate, if we have leaky gut, it's all leaking out. The reason people get diseases for one of two reasons. Do you guys know why? Number one, they get disease because they're toxic. Okay. Number two, they get diseases because they're chronically malnourished. That means we have 90 vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, amino acids that we need in our body, 90 of them. Okay, guys? So we've got vitamins and minerals that we need. We've got trace minerals. We got amino acids. And if we're not getting those 90 elements, guess what's happening? Our bodies are not functioning well. So a lot of people are getting disease because they're nutrient deficient, it's called. Okay? But the second thing is toxic. Well, that's all the food supply, right? Right? Not everybody's eating rocket on their pizzas here in the US, right? So those two reasons are why we get disease. So the bottom line is, look what this says. 70% of the immune system's in the gut. It says when the intestinal barrier is compromised, leaky gut. Say it with me, leaky gut. Harmful substances can reach the bloodstream and cause inflammation. That's every autoimmune disease. Inflammation can lead to conditions like arthritis. They got pain everywhere, right? Diabetes, kidney disease, colitis, right? Parkinson's disease. Here you go. A study found that people with ulcers, acid reflux, or stomach lining damage. My mom had acid reflux. I remember as a kid, my mom belching after every meal. That's acid reflux. They're 76% more likely to develop Parkinson's disease. Do you know why my mom could have prevented Parkinson's disease if she had an appropriate doctor or someone nutritionally educating her? She didn't, because insurance doesn't cover the stuff that I'm talking about. Insurance doesn't cover patches. Insurance doesn't cover me, right? Insurance covers stupid things that keeps people sick, all right? So when you look at that, that was just a little bit more about that. Now getting into BPC 157, let's get there. So this supplement right here, and by the way, I have a full script account. Now, if you choose to get this one, great. I have a 25% discount on this. I put a gut reset together because you don't just need to take this. You need to make sure you're on an excellent probiotic, right? You need to make sure you have excellent enzymes, or at least are eating enzymes with arugula. You could eat the kimchi. You could eat the sauerkraut before meals. All those things are going to help the digestive process, right? Betaine hydrochloride is for people that don't have enough stomach enzymes because they told us to stop eating this. When they told us to stop eating salt, real salt, guess what happened? Our stomach needs real salt. It's called hydrochloric acid, okay? Like hydrochloric chloride. I mean, think about this, you guys. Sodium chloride is what salt is. And so our bodies needed hydrochloric acid to be able to break down food. Well, they told us to quit eating this. So no one's digesting their food. So, you know, I'm pretty crazy about electrolytes. All of you should be eating electrolytes every single day because that's going to just improve a digestion right there. Very, very important. So I put on the list this BPC 157. Now, let me tell you the things I learned about this. I researched this for at least 12 solid hours before I hit the buy button for my family, maybe longer than 12, because I was listening, I was writing, I take notes like a crazy person. So I'm just going to tell you about what this peptide does. Okay. And again, I'm not telling you to treat, cure, prevent disease. I'm just telling you what I found out. This peptide is actually naturally created by the stomach. Okay. It's called BPC 157. BPC stands for body protective compounds. Okay. 157. It's literally created by the stomach acid. Now, a few things that you really need to know about this is it's one of the best. There's the three best peptides to heal up the tight junctions. What I realized about Rocco is I was giving him all the right supplements. I was giving him all the right stuff. But what was happening? It was all leaking out. It was leaking out into his system. You guys understand what I'm saying? How many of you are taking handfuls of supplements and they don't seem to be working? Raise your hand. Okay, you know who you are. Well, you know what I say? Shut the front door. Shut the front door. So everything I'm telling you today, phototherapy patches are going to help. Use the patches because they're going to help you. Okay, that's going to help a whole slew of things. But when you talk about leaky gut specifically, let me tell you this. There's three that heal the gut. One's called Arazatide, and that heals tight junctions. But guess what? The drug companies have scooped that up and said, no worries, you can't have that peptide. We're making drugs that do that right now so we can sell it to our patients, right? The second peptide that is amazing for healing the gut is BPC 157. The third peptide that's amazing for healing the gut is GHK-Cu. That would be X39 patch. Those are the three primary peptides to heal the gut. So should you all be on X39? Hands down, absolutely. And if you've had a chronic gut condition, would it be a wise idea to get on BPC 157? Now, here's the thing about this peptide. If you Google it, you're going to find stupid things along the way. Okay. So here's what happened to my family when I got this. It came in the mail and it was sitting on the counter. Truett said, what is that? My middle son, Truett. He's 17. I said, it's a peptide that heals the gut and the brain. And it's also good for musculoskeletal things. And I said, so Truett, how's your knee? He said, my knee feels 100% after surgery. He's been patching, for 3 months, 4 months. So his knee's great. He's dunking basketballs again. I said, well, if you got any aches and pains, it'll help to heal that. I said, but it really is for the gut lining. It heals that leaky gut. It brings those tight junctions back together. Okay. And so he Googles it. He said, Mom, you're trying to give us something that's banned by WADA, the World Anti-Doping Association. Mom, are you trying to give us dope? No, I'm not. I said, what's banned by WADA is the injectable. Okay. So if you go get injections of this, I can't tell you to go take it. You're going to have to go to a compound pharmacist and you're going to have to get that information from your doctor. But remember what I said, the reason they put these peptides on the WADA watch list, not because they really care. They don't really care. If they really cared, they wouldn't have Red 40 and all the freaking chemicals that you can't pronounce in all of our food, and it's allowed. If the FDA really cared, don't think for a second they care about you. They do not care about you. Do you understand me? If they cared, 1,000 of those legal chemicals in the United States that are illegal in Europe when I go there would not be legal if they actually cared. It is all about the freaking bottom dollar with our food supply. And you're about to, one thing I'm a big promoter of is this Robert Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump ticket. I posted the other day on Tuesday, you're going to want to get informed. They're going to take a shotgun and clean up the CDC, clean up the NIH, clean up the FDA. These are money laundering organizations. I learned this 22 years ago in The Politics of Cancer by Samuel Epstein textbook when I was in school for my doctorate. I told Scott, we can't eat anything. He's like, what? I said, hot dogs cause cancer. If you have more than 10 servings of nitrates in a month with your kids, they get leukemia. Like, it was all in the clinical evidence of this 1,000-page book, study after study after study. I read this 23 years ago. This is redemption hour for me. I've been in the trenches like a hound dog for 23 years trying to sound the alarm. And now we got people like Bobby Kennedy saying the FDA is going to get pruned. They're all garbage. The CDC, the NIH, they're money laundering organizations. I'm like, hallelujah. Someone else is saying it. So this is like my moment in history. I'm like, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. But I want you to know, if you Google this, because, Google, they can put whatever they want. You can Google and they'll say Jesus Christ isn't real either, right? But when you Google it, it's going to say, oh, this peptide can cause tumors. And I'm like, no, the reason they say that is because it creates something called angiogenesis, which is blood flow. It's not going to just randomly create a tumor. In fact, there is no clinical evidence. There is not one clinical study showing it created a tumor anywhere. Isn't that crazy? But how did that get into the verbiage of everything? Well, it increases blood flow. Well, anything. You could say that grape juice increases tumors then. You could cherry juice, it's nitric oxide, right? Eating pomegranates. I mean, so be careful what you read on the internet. I mean, I'm going to tell you what I'm telling you today is a culmination of listening to some of the world-renowned experts. I mean, I'm crazy. I've got so many books on peptides. What do I do in my free time? Educate myself. All right. So let me go back. Another thing they found out with BPC 157, it's neuroprotective. They found that get this, if you're still with me, they found if athletes were taking BPC 157, guess what they found? It would protect against traumatic brain injury. Do you think that every NFL football player in the country, in the world, should probably be taking this thing if it's a neuroprotective? No, they put it on the banned list. This is how crazy they are. These people are nuts, right? So let me tell you about there's different ways that you can get this peptide. You can get injectable. We're not talking about that because I don't like needles at all. I'm anti-needle. You can get it intranasally where you suck it up. They call it the Wolverine peptide. You guys remember the movie Wolverine when the guy would cut himself and heal in a second? They call it the Wolverine peptide because your body heals so fast when you have this peptide, okay? And I saw that happen within a week of taking it. All of Rocco's color came back in his face, and it hasn't gone away. Within a week of taking it, my mom calls me saying, what are you giving me that's making me poop like this? Okay. Like, I mean, within a week, everybody that had like a gut problem, here's the beauty of it. You don't have to take it long. So how much do you take of it? You take 500 micrograms on an empty stomach, and you can start with it one to 2 times a day. I would say for the first 5 days, just take it once a day, 500 micrograms. And then you can increase it to 2 times a day. It's best to take it on an empty stomach because it's going to heal up the tight junctions of the gut. Then all the food and the supplements you're taking, you're probably going to say, oh my gosh, they're suddenly working. Well, they're not floating through the body, my friends. They actually are in the gut. You guys get what's happening? You get why all your supplements and crap you've been doing, it hasn't worked orally? Because the gut has been leaky gut. Everyone's got leaky gut, okay? So you can also do it topically. They have a topical thing that you can do. The only one I'm talking about today that I put on my full script for you guys to order, if you want to order it, you don't have to order it for my full script. You can go somewhere else and order it. My primary job is to educate you today, okay? If you want to order it from what I'm telling you, this is a great one. This is the one my family's taking, and this is the one that I have a 25% discount on when you go to my full script account. Okay, this is what else it does. I'm going to say it again. They call it organ protective for the pancreas, the liver, the kidneys. They've actually done most of the research. Most of the research has been done on animals. Do you guys know that? Now they finally have done some human research with it. So the research is fairly new. So if you talk to a doctor about it, they'll say it's not safe. There's not been enough human trials. Well, I am listening to people that have anecdotally been using it with tens of thousands of people in Facebook groups for like 5 years. And their results are tremendous. Here's the beauty of it. You don't take it long-term. How you start with it is you take that 500 micro to 1,000 micrograms a day on an empty stomach, and you start with just taking it for 1 month. That's it. And you analyze yourself after 1 month and you say, do I feel better? Have I seen noticeable changes? Oh, Rocco's skin color came back. I showed you the kid literally the kid, every time he goes to the gym, he looks like he comes back like a bodybuilder now. I'm like, I mean, this is like in the last couple weeks, guys. This is crazy. In fact, this is what else it does. They found out that it doesn't increase growth hormone. If you Google it, it'll say BPC 157 increases growth hormone. That's a lie. It does not increase growth hormone. It does not increase it. What it does is it increases the growth hormone receptors. So in our bodies, we have these growth hormone receptors. And if the receptors are not open and ready for when we increase the growth hormone, like when we're lifting weights and doing things that are like sprinting or running, if the growth receptors are not ready, it's kind of like a catcher's mitt. The mitt has to catch the growth hormone. So this peptide doesn't increase growth hormone, it increases the mitt, okay, to catch it. Okay, so they call it the growth hormone receptors are increased. So now it doesn't surprise me when Rocco's come back and I'm like, kid, you gained like 20 pounds in 3 weeks. What is going on with your muscle? And what is going on with your skin? His beautiful tan skin face is back. And he said, Mom, I didn't dream for 2 years and I'm having the craziest, wildest dreams now, Mom. Is this normal? I'm like, yes, your brain is cleaning itself, right? Not nightmares. He's not having nightmares. He's just dreaming. And he has not dreamt in 2 years. My mom dreaming again. The other day she said, are you on the news again? I had a dream that you were on the news again. I said, hell no, I'm never going to be on the news. And so it was a dream, Mom. That was a dream. Okay. Anyway, what else do I want to tell you? It helps with cartilage. It helps with, oh God, I could just go on and on. It helps with overall muscle healing. But the biggest thing it helps with, did I send myself this thing? Do you guys know who that what's his name? Gary Brecka is? He said it is the #1 thing for colitis, IBS, Crohn's, you name the leaky gut. It is the #1 thing to heal up that gut. And because the junctions were all loose and now they're tight. And now all that good nutrition that Rocco's putting in his body is actually going to where it's supposed to instead of floating out through his system. Okay. Do you understand everything I just told you today? What I told you today is gold, by the way. You're not going to hear about it from anyone else that's talking on these different spectrums and levels that I'm talking about. Okay, so what else does it does? It GI tract heal, mouth to anus. We've got that tube that runs from our mouth to our anus, and it's a single cell wall in there. And the thing of it is that gets broken down very easily. But the beautiful thing is every 30 days, do you know that our entire, from our mouth to our anus is replenished? Every 30 days. That's why I think the least amount of time you should try the BPC 157 is 30 days. Okay. This is not something you're going to take the rest of your life. You're going to take a month and see how you feel. Okay. And then go off of it for a bit. Okay. I said to my family, we're going to take it for a month, about twice a year. And just to kind of heal up anything that needs to be healed. And we'll see if you are taking and you're like, I took it for a month, I didn't notice one thing, then your body probably doesn't need it. Okay. It's really that easy. I like that you don't have to keep taking it. That makes me happy. Helps to heal the stomach. It helps to heal anal fissures. They literally did this clinical study where they chop, I know this is kind of gross. They took a rat and they actually chopped their spinal cord right by their tail. And when they injected BPC 157 right into that area, the spinal cord completely regenerated and they could wag their tail again. Crazy stuff like that. And obviously there's a little bit more to it because if not, they'd probably be giving it to every paraplegic or a person that has had an issue like that. But I mean, the findings they're doing more and more clinical studies. But again, I don't think you're going to have big clinical studies because it's not a drug being moved through the pharmaceutical industry. Okay. Until they make it that. And when they make it that, it's going to be an arm and a leg to buy it. And you're going to need a doctor's prescription. And who knows what other kind of freaking chemicals are going to mix with it. Right. So right now I feel like just go get the compound. Like basically in here, you've got, it's an arginate salt. So it's basically the BPC and a form of sodium. That's all you're getting in this thing. Anyway, you take them twice a day. It doesn't fix your microbiome. Your microbiome is the probiotic. You need the enzymes like I talked about. You need the probiotic and you need the enzymes. And some of you need the betaine hydrochloride. I put together a list on FullScript. Scott, can you put it in the comments if Scott's watching? I put together a list on FullScript of exactly this exact one my family's been taking, the enzymes with pepsin, and of course, the probiotic. One's for women and one's for men. So you can choose which one, woman or men. The women one is phenomenal because it has extra cranberry to help women protect against UTIs. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, so I put together, there's just a couple items in the cart there. You'll see them. And that is, the combination is really what you need, along with the patches. So talk to who invited you on here, get started at the patches at your convenience. I could do a whole presentation on that, but we already have a pre-recorded presentation for those that are interested in learning more about the patches. Do you have any questions in the chat? Let me look down here. Let me see what you say down here. Okay, I just ordered. Yeah, it's going to heal your leaky gut. I'm telling you it is. I mean, it was almost like God had me on the journey after I started with X39 and learning about peptides and how our patches activate. So David Schmidt and I have gone back and forth about this BPC 157. I'm like, David, you need to create a phototherapy patch to activate this. So don't worry. I'm already talking to David Schmidt for all the life waivers in here because he said, how is it working for your family? And I'm like, Rocco's dreaming. His color came back. He's gained like 30 pounds. My mom is pooping again, dreaming again. I mean, I don't know. Like we've done a lot of other things. Let me see what else. Okay, thanks, Scott. Scott, oh, it's a 25% off link if you guys decide to want to order through that link. Scott put it on there. I can put it on my Facebook page too. Again, I'm not here to try to sell you something. If you find it somewhere else that you want to buy it, go for it. I'm just telling you the one that we've been using that I know works. So that's how that goes. Exactly. So the brand of it is on the full script link. Let me see. Okay, anything else for new messages? Talk to who invited you on here. You can share this with people. Again, we're not making medical claims. I'm just telling you what happened to my family. It's been a total godsend for us. I've done so many things with my constipation since I started having children. Yeah, are you on the patches? Number one, but number two, you need the patches because you need to bring light into the body. Because remember, the 3 peptides that heal the gut from leaky gut, Razotide, which is going to be a medical drug, BPC 157, and GHK CU peptide, which is our X39 patch. That's what activates that. Okay. Excited to try this. Yes, you bet. Thank you. Okay, that's it. That's all I have for you. Hopefully it wasn't too all over the board. I knew that I had certain things that I was pulling and sharing, and I just wanted to make sure that I got all those right. All right. Do you guys have any questions? Did you learn anything? I hope so. My goal is to make you so crazy, radical, healthy, because I believe that when you have health and when you have financial independence, you are much tougher to control. And I don't want you guys easily controlled or brainwashed by that crazy federal government until we get a reset over there. All right. May the Lord bless you, keep you, and shine his face upon you, be gracious to you all the days of your life. Scott put the link in there. I'll put it on my Facebook page right now. Share if you care. And if you're on this and you haven't started on the patches, talk to who invited you on this webinar, and they will get you started on the appropriate patches for you. Because the patches work. Like my practitioner said, I've never seen anything in 25 years that increased the mitochondria in 1 month like that X39 patch did. And I'm like, holy cow, that's a big statement. So now she's got every practitioner or she got practitioners on it too, but she also got all of her patients on it. All right, awesome information. Have a great night, everybody. God bless you. The best is yet to come. Watch the Bobby Kennedy and Trump thing on Tuesday. Put it on my Facebook page. Bye. Regenerative medicine's where it's at.